everyone. Today we will talk about Python operators and expressions. Operators and operands. Operators are special symbols that represent computations like addition and multiplication. The values the operator is applied to are called operands. So there are two things, one is operators and the other is operand. So operators are symbols that represent some sort of operation like addition and multiplication. And operands are the values on which these operators are applied. The operators we have plus is an operator which shows the addition. Minus is for subtraction. Steric is for multiplication. And this slash sign is for division. Double steric sign shows exponentiation. Here we have some examples. You can see that 20 plus 32, here plus is the operator and 20 and 32 are the operand. Similarly, we have r minus 1. Here you can see that minus is the operator and r and 1 are operands. Now come towards this point where we have r multiplied by 60 plus minute. Now if you consider this thing first, as multiplication has high precedence, so here you can see that steric sign is the operator and r and 60 are operands. Then the result is again operand. Minute is also the operand, and here the operator is plus sign. Now come towards another example in which we have the minute divided by 60. Now this division is the operator here, and minute and 60 are operands. 5 double steric 2, it means that double steric, which shows the exponentiation, is the operator, and 5 and 2 are operands. Now come towards this example in which we have these parentheses, and within the parentheses we have this operator plus, and we have the operands 5 and 9. Similarly, we have this parenthesis again, in which we have this subtraction sign with 15 and 7 as the operand. Then their results would be multiplied. So here multiplication would be the operator, and their results are operands here in this example. Now come towards expression. An expression is a combination of values, variables, and operators. A value all by itself is considered an expression. Also a variable, assuming that variable has been assigned a value. So basically expression contains our values, variables, and operators. So their combination becomes an expression. So if you have only one value, that value can also be considered as an expression. And even if you have a variable, then a simple variable would also be an expression. Assume that you have assigned some value to that variable already. So we have this 17, which is an expression. X is a variable, is also an expression. And if you are going to do some computation on the variable like x plus 17, this is also valid expression. Example, if you type an expression in interactive mode, the interpreter evaluates it and displays the result. So there is a difference between using interpreter and the IDE. So if you open the interpreter from your command prompt, you write Python, and then this interactive shell is active. So when you write 1 plus 1 and press enter, 2 will be displayed on the screen immediately after that. So next, but in script, when you write a script within an IDE, an expression all by itself doesn't do anything. So whenever you are going to write an expression within a script, then you can, when you run that script, you will find that there nothing would be displayed on the console unless you print the values on the screen yourself using the print statement. Order of operation. When more than one operator appears in an expression. So if there is only one operator, there is no problem. The case is simple, and simply that would be executed easily without any confusion and without any problem. But what happens, we have more than one operator. In that case, the order of evaluation depends on the rule of precedence. So there are certain rule of precedence. It means that this operator has high precedence. It means that this specific operator will operate first, and then according to the order, according to the rules of precedence, you may have the other operator which have some priority. So there is a rule, there is an order in which these operators will be executed. Acronym, we have PEMDAS is a useful way to remember the rules. So we can easily remember this operators with the same precedence are evaluated from left to right, and it can also be happen that we are within the same level, but we have different operators over there. And in that case, so we have to evaluate these operators within the same level from left to right. So here, look at this PEMDAS, which is parenthesis, E for exponentiation, MD is multiplication and division, and these both are on the same level. And if they both occur in a expression, then you have to evaluate from left to right. Even if you have the multiplication or division that occurs twice or more than one, you have to follow this rule that you will evaluate the expression from left to right. And then at the end, we have the addition and subtraction. Here, you can see that both are on the same level, and if these both occur at the same time, then we have to follow the rule from left to right. Example of expression evaluation. You can see that if we follow the level of precedence or the order of precedence of these operators evaluation, you can see that here in the first example, we have 2 static, within the parentheses, we have 3 minus 1. So in this case, parenthesis has the high precedence. So we will evaluate this thing first, which is 3 minus 1 equals 2, and then 2 static 2 becomes 4. So this is the result. 4 is the result. Now come toward this one, you can see that we have 2 parentheses. Both are the same at the same level. So we will evaluate from left to right. We will evaluate this one, 1 plus 1, which is equal to 2, and then 5 minus 2 equals to 3. Then it becomes 2 exponent 3. 2 exponent 3, 2 power 3 becomes 8. Here you can see that 2 power 1, it becomes 2 plus 1 becomes 3 at the end. So 3 multiply with 1 exponentiation 3. Here you can see that exponentiation has high precedence, so 1 power 3 would be 1, and then again result is 1, then 1 multiplied by 3 becomes 3. In the next expression, you can see that 2 multiplied by 3, it becomes 6, 6 minus 1 becomes 5, 5 is the result. Now see this example, we have 6 plus 4 divided by 2, 4 divided by 2 will be evaluated first, it will give us the result 2. So 6 plus 2 equals 8. Then comes towards this one, in which you can see that both are the subtraction, but these occur more than 1. Then we have to follow from left to right. So 5 minus 3 equal 2, and 2 minus 1 equal 1. Now here is an important operator, which is the modulus operators, and the modulus operators work on integers. It yields the remainder when the first operand is divided by the second. The modulus operator is percentage sign. You can see that we have this percentage sign. If you want to use the modulus operator, we have to use this sign. You can see that here we are printing the quotient, and to find the quotient, we are using this 7/3. So using this division, we can get the quotient of the result of the division. And then after that, we have to print this quotient. Now come towards the remainder. Here you can see that modulus operator has been used, and it would be used to get the remainder of this division, and simply we are going to print this remainder. Now string operation. Not only this plus operator used in the integers, but can also be used with strings. It's not an addition in the mathematical sense. So if we are talking about strings, then it's not the same as we do addition in the mathematics. Instead, it performs concatenation. So this sign plus sign, when it's used with strings, it performs concatenation. It makes the two strings together. That it have to join the strings by linking them end to end. Now come toward this example, we have the integers, and integers having this sign plus. When plus operator is used between the integers, what we will get, it's simply first equal to 10, second equal to 15. Now when we are going to add these numbers together, we will get the result, and we are going to print it simply. So 10 plus 15 equals 25. It would be printed on the screen. Secondly, we have the strings with plus operator. You can see that we have this 100, but now this is not an integer, it is a string. How we came to know that this is a string? It's actually enclosed in this single quote. And now come to our second, which is the 150, which also includes in the single quote. Then if you are going to add these two variables together or strings together, what will happen, that these strings will be concatenated. These will be linked and joined end to end. Now static, which is used for the multiplication, is used first equal to test. This is one of the string, and you have this second equal to 3. So here we are going to print this first multiply with second. You can see that test first contains the string test. So test multiply with 3. What does it do? It just print this test 3 times. So we are actually displaying this test using this print function, but how many times, it depends on this other operand. So here this operand is 3, and we are operator over here has we have is static, which is the multiplication. Asking the user for input. So it's very important that we have this option to take input from the user. And whatever the user enters, we can assign that value to the variables, or we can use those variables values within an expression, or whatever we want to do with that. And this other way, we have simplest one version is that we just assign or hard code these variables with some values. Like we have the variable a, and we just assign its value equal to, let's suppose, 100. If you want to change that, you have to manually change this value. But using this option, like asking the user for input, we have this option, we have this opportunity to change this value. Whenever you run this program, user can enter different value at this point. That value would be used in some expression or whatever. The problem is your program is about, you will get the result accordingly. So if he input different input value, at the end you will get a different output. Sometimes we would like to take the value of a variable from the user via their keyboard. Python provides a built-in function called input. So it's very easy. What is that function? Built-in function is there. We can use it, and we can easily take input from the user. So this input function, it gets input from the user using this keyboard, like typing the values and entering that value would be directly that value go into some variable. When this function is called, the program stops and waits for the user to type something. So when user presses return or enter key, the program resumes, and input returns what the user typed as a string. So here in this case, actually, whatever he enters would be in the form of a string. So in examples of taking string input, you can see that if you are using input built-in function, which is used to take input from the user, simply input and parentheses, and this is the main thing. You can see that usually parentheses are used with any of the function. So if you have this, you can see that input is a function, and immediately we have these parentheses, and sometimes we can take some arguments within this parenthesis. User enters some silly stuff, right? And whatever he enters, like here he enters some silly stuff, would be assigned to INP. INP, it wouldn't, here at this point, it wouldn't display anything. but we can print this value using this print function. So whatever is assigned to the int, here is the string, like some silly stuff would be displayed on the screen. It's a good idea to print a prompt telling the user what to input. So it's just simply the cursor is blinking and asking for the user to enter, and the user doesn't know what he would enter at this point. So he may enter some silly stuff over here. So it's a good idea to ask the user what he should enter, what the value he is going to enter, what is that about, what is the purpose of entering those values. So it's a good idea to print a prompt telling the user what to input. Whatever he is going to input, he would know that he is going to input this value for some purpose. What is the purpose of entering this value? Here you can see that you have this name equals to input. This is the same function input for taking input from the user, but here you are going to prompt the user. Within the single code, you are giving the message to the user, what is your name? And using this \n is used to move the cursor to the next line. So at this point, what would happen? What is your name would be displayed on the screen, and the cursor will move to the next line, and on the next line he would be able to enter his name. So it's a good idea. He will know that he's going to enter his name, and it's better version as compared to this one, in which he doesn't know what he's going to input at this point. So when he get the message on the screen, what is your name? He just simply enter his name, type his name, and then press enter. So this, when he press enter, this name Chuck would be assigned to the variable name, and nothing would be displayed on the screen at this point unless we print name on the screen. Now coming towards the example of taking integer input. So what will happen if we want the user to enter an integer and not the string? In that case, if you expect the user to type an integer, you can try to convert the return value to int using the int function. So basically, the input function takes the input in the form of the string, but we have the opportunity to convert that string into an int, as we may want this values in the form of integer, and we want to process that, or we want to use that in some sort of expression. In that case, int is must, integer values is must. We don't want these strings to be consumed within an expression. We want that string to be converted into int or integer. So simple int function is there. We have this facility, we have this opportunity to use this int function. So from the user, here simply you have this variable in which you are going to record the message that what the user want to see. What is the airspeed velocity of an unladen swallow? So this would display on the screen, and here speed equal to input from. So instead you can also write directly the message within this parenthesis and enclosed in single quote, but here we have we can also do this in this form, like from. The message has been stored in this variable prom, and then we are using this prom variable and taking the input from the user and at the same time. So just the user won't see this message after executing this statement. What will happen? The message would be displayed on the screen. What is the airspeed velocity of an unladen swallow? This would be displayed on the screen, and the user enters 17 over here, and then press enter. So basically, he enters 17, but still this is not an integer. This is a string up to this point, unless and until we explicitly convert it into an integer. You can see that we have this enter value stored in this variable speed, and here 17 has been assigned to this speed, which is not an integer here at this point. This is a string. We have to convert it into integer using int. So simply use this int. Within a parenthesis, we have to write this variable speed, and 17 would be displayed on the screen after executing this. Now, at this point, the values is actually an integer, and we can use this integer within any mathematical expression, and it can operate in the normal way. And this is the proof here in this next expression. What we are going to do, we are actually checking whether it's actually an integer or not. So int speed plus 5 plus would be plus 5. So 5 would be added to the 17. We will get the 22 value. What can be the possible error? So if the user types something other than a string of digits, you get an error. If he have to enter the digit, but he enters some sort of string, like you can see that if you prompt the user, what is the speed velocity when in latent swallow? This is the same example. We prompt the user to enter the speed, right? So what he does, instead of entering some value, like in the previous example it was 17, instead of entering a value, he again asks, what do you mean, an African or a European swallow? And we press enter. So he is again asking a question. So there is nothing like that in the program to answer this question. And what the program is expecting at this point, the program is expecting an integer value at this point, some string that can be converted into integer at the end. But this cannot be possible at this time. If we convert that speed, whatever is entered, converted into int, what will you get? We will get an error, invalid literal for int with base 10.